Hello there, welcome to what will be Sonic Riders. You can just call me Stent. If you couldn't tell already, given my current attire, I'm a fair big fan of this particular game. Been looking forward to playing this one on stream for a little bit, so without further ado, let's get into it. Hopefully, the aspect ratio won't be too off-putting. Let me just turn this off real quick. And of course, we start off with perhaps one of the most iconic openings in this entire series, short of Adventure 2. Just looking at this intro alone, it's just... I'm still kind of baffled we haven't got anything like this in the series at all since this game. You'd think with character designs like this, animated intros would be more commonplace, especially ones as stylish as this. Like, this is especially, back when I was a kid, was just the most mesmerizing thing. Say what you will about the music involved. Like, I know this definitely looks like a mid-2000s anime with all the CG buildings, but I will admit I'm kind of down for that, in a weird way. But look at this. I know this looks like something you'd see in like a more recent series like Beyblade or Digimon or the like, but you gotta admit it does look pretty nice, and also like there's a little bit where they bully Tails. And then Sonic goes back for him because he's a good friend like that. I will say, despite this theme probably not being the most memorable in the series, it does at the very least do a fair bit to hype you up for the game, and licensed by Nintendo, this is technically the GameCube version, but don't tell Nintendo. Yeah, I've gotten a 100% completion save file on this, which I figured I might show off at a later point, but for now we're just starting a new game. Mostly so we can get the full experience. For now we're just going to go into story mode. Not entirely certain how much time we'll have, but if we do have time I'll swap over to the other save file and we can showcase some of the other races there. But for now, let's go into the storyline. With more of these amazing blur cutscenes, which they really went hard on at the time, I must say.
That's really weird. It looks like something's jamming the radar signal.
I will say that out of all the bunch, this probably looks quote-unquote the worst, but especially with the lighting and such, it still looks fantastic. Like, look at that. Of course, we got Jason here doing his Jason thing before he actually got decent voice direction. Oh yeah, technically this game has 3 characters in it, all voiced by Jason. It's kind of hilarious like that. Dude literally got... Knuckles literally just punched a guy off his board at like 300 miles an hour. I mean, I know he's used to that given Sonic 3, but it's always hilarious to see. And for some reason, Sonic just decides to get on the board instead of using his speed. I mean, the premise of this, all things considered, is kind of weak, but I do at least appreciate the style behind it. I also appreciate the use of in-game sound effects there. That's literally just Jason's Sonic voice there. No idea what that was, but it was cool regardless, and... Sonic, you could just run after them, right? I know this is widely considered to be part of a different canon compared to the rest of the series, but I'm fairly certain Sonic can still run fast. I'm fairly certain that's unanimous with the character. And here's this Joker.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome everyone. I hope you're all ready for a show.
It looks so much more high definition compared to the blur cutscenes. It's kind of sad.
Since you all seem so bored, I put together a little extra
Oh,
something
I love
to
this
spice
line.
things up. I call it the X-World Grand Prix, a tournament to see who's the best of the best with
Just give it a
extreme
minute.
gear. Not just a race, but a special race to see who's the fastest.
A special race to see who's the fastest. I'm fairly certain that that just initially qualifies as a race. Oh yeah, I can see nothing going wrong with this, given Eggman's constantly clamoring for those, whatever they are now, ancient Gaia stones,
Eggman again.
alien engine cores.
And there's more. Before I forget, I'll present the current contestants. These players, they're hot. The best racers I can find.
Also, yeah, you can probably tell this was made for a 4:3 aspect ratio, given the static lines only go out so far. That blue hedgehog again, of all places!
Huh? Let's do this.
Well, I guess that's all the motivation Sonic needs in order to participate in this obvious trap. Alright, it's been a little bit since I played this, so it may be a little rusty. And of course, alongside Grand Metropolis, we have this futuristic nightmare to throw into the wrenches of how does this fit in with all of Sonic lore. Let's see. There we go. Just gotta time that right in particular. So I may as well go into a little bit of how the game is played. Probably thinking about it, I should have brought the tutorial beforehand, but regardless, you have a little gauge down there in the bottom right, basically telling you how much fuel you have in your board. You want to balance going as fast as you can whilst retaining air in the board, and you mostly do that by doing tricks, doing specific actions like speed characters such as Sonic are able to grind on rails, Tails can fly, Knuckles can punch through various obstacles. You can tell I've played this game a fair bit, haven't you? I will admit it's definitely satisfying just launching yourself up super high and then just having the left stick have a party with your thumb. It's great. Oh yeah, and the level up system. The more rings you collect, the better your stats get, and you get better access to more unique boost abilities, like obviously Sonic gets his spin dash here. I feel there was definitely a good kart racing system here, which they could have expanded upon, but obviously instead we got Zero Gravity and Free Riders, which I'll probably talk about them in a little bit, but regardless, these races go by fairly fast. Oh, can I actually get this 100 ring thing? Yes, you can. That's how you get that 100 ring. I'm probably not going to go over all of them, since honestly I don't remember where a lot of them are, or how to get to them, but I'll try to point them out when I can. As such, though, it seems we're coming up to the end of this one already. We're only 10 minutes in, that's good. You can also see you can drift, which also takes up air, so really it's a big balance of expending air in order to boost your performance to outpace everyone else, yet still being able to use tricks and conserve air where possible in order to prevent yourself from running dry, at which point you just go off on foot. You may actually see it a little bit.
Yeah, but what exactly is Eggman really at?
The emeralds? I'm fairly certain that's unanimous. Oh, and here's Amy again.
Huh? Amy?
Look how confused Sonic is to see her.
You signed up too.
Of course, it really looks exciting and fun. Why wouldn't I join?
You never play as Amy in the story mode.
This way, I'll be able to keep my eyes on you.
Ugh.
The models I don't think really do that a lot of justice, but
That mark.
it is still refreshing to see after modern Amy in stuff like Frontiers.
I think it was on the board
It's
that
like
they
she's
got
actually a
the
character
Ranger
as opposed to archetypical girl character number 2401.
The mark of the Babylon roads. A long time ago, there was a floating island known as Babylon Garden. Supposedly, robbers lived
I have a fair bit to say about this, but that involves lore which will be introduced later on, but that implies to some extent that Babylonia existed. I mean, obviously the history of the Sonic series is fairly nebulous, and I will admit I'm sort of growing a little bit impatient with the likes of Ian, who, let's just say, don't take the lore quite as seriously as one in his position probably should. Instead, just trying to dismiss any and all questions by just saying, it's a video game, don't worry so much about it, but... Oh, I love this bit here.
Stop! I get it, okay? It just floats, and that's good enough for me.
I love that.
Huh?
Sorry, but it's just too funny.
See, she has a sense of humor.
That gear's unusual. Customized it myself.
So what, can you just buy these at Gear Store? No. Oh. See that little red thing on the bottom of the board? That wasn't there before. We'll just keep that in mind.
Thanks, though. It was good for a laugh.
And they never notice whatever that red thing is on the bottom of the board until the end of the game.
She thinks she is.
Yeah, how can she just walk in and diss Tails?
I've never heard Sonic say "dis" before, and I kinda love it. Look how angry he is, and yet his brows don't move.
Please come to the gate, participants.
Yeah, well, the models here are a bit more expressive compared to, say, Frontiers. The brow movement here, I feel, is desperately needed in order to convey a lot of the more expressive, well, the more animated expressions that they obviously want to go for. Yeah, obviously keep missing those. I don't think it's something we have to worry about too much until later on in the game. Especially with a certain race. I think you might know the one. Hold on, I think... No, I don't think we're going to make that Red Wing in particular quite yet. This is one of the annoying parts of this game, though. When you're behind, you end up getting caught up in the turbulence, which is... Sorry, turbulence, which is supposed to be your basic catch-up method to allow you to get further back up into place, because this doesn't quite have the same friendship-ending item system compared to, say, Mario Kart, so you're mostly relying on, I suppose, more mechanical skill in order to get into first place with your resource management. I just love how you just sideswipe the guy there. Alright, I think the 100... Just missed the 100 ring one. Yeah, but it's behind that waterfall. Plus, we also get to go through this ring, which I'm fairly certain is slower than just taking the normal waterfall route. See, just overtook us. Thankfully, though, it shouldn't be too difficult to get back into first. So yeah, that's a small issue. Some of the shortcuts aren't exactly shortcuts. Hopefully at the very least we'll be able to find some which are more advantageous than not. I want to say though, I definitely love these locales. Like, this in particular feels a lot more on brand, even if it is a little bit more grounded and less, you know, checkerboards. And I completely forgot that Omo-chan was still commentating. Yeah, the commentator over this, over the various races here in the Sonic Heroes special stage balloon. I'm fairly certain that's the same one. Yeah, it's Omo-chan. In case you couldn't get enough of everyone's favorite wind-up chatterbox, there he is. Again, I still feel that a lot of people just give Omo-chan a bad rep. Though I'm mostly just thinking with regards to his Adventure 2 portrayal, in which, yeah, he's helpful. His voice is pseudo-irritating, but at the same time, you kind of feel bad for him when you just throw him off the level or accidentally blow him up. He had a lot of personality in Adventure 2. I loved him for that. I'm gonna miss him. And all of a sudden, here we are in Volcano Base. Yeah, story goes by fairly quick.
I'll make sure to pay you back for this.
Ha! I let you get away last time, but definitely not today.
I'll say this is definitely going by a lot quicker than I was expecting.
I'll pay you back tenfold now.
Sorry.
What are you doing, you clumsy fool? Was that supposed to be some kind of punch?
The most telegraphed punch in history.
Sorry there. It wasn't my fault. If he hadn't jumped out of the way just now, I would have clobbered.
What?
Somehow none of them figure out that's a robot.
Race is about to start. All participants, please get your positions now.
The track then. We'll settle this there.
Looking forward.
I'm gonna point at you also. Alright, now here's where the missions, or say the mission requirements, start to get a little bit more intense, in which you have to finish in first place as opposed to just finishing top 3. Thankfully though, Knuckles is well and truly properly geared for this particular track, as it does, from what I recall, favor power types. We just also, yeah, you could get a fair few shortcuts just by making all the good jumps. Well, there isn't really much to say about it, so I will say with regards to Eggman bases, this Volcano bases seem like an obvious choice which we haven't really seen with Eggman. Also, yeah, I don't think many people know about this particular shortcut. It is notably well hidden. Of course, you end with that, which is always nice, and somehow Storm still managed to outrun me. That won't stand. I have my honor on the line here. That's still satisfying to do, but I'm not gonna lie. So in terms of the actual levels, this... I'm not gonna say it's my least favorite, but it is notably one of the more forgettable ones. The main thing that sticks out to me with regards to this level is that particular core thing you go around, bumping into the little things that circle around it. It's always sort of annoying when going for the 100 rings, which are in the midst of that, which you might have seen in the little pre-race showcase for this level. So in regards to what else I'm thinking I might do on the stream, if I'm not going to do Babylon, which is going to be next stream, at least that was the plan, is likely just going to be showcasing some more of the tracks, maybe doing the World Grand Prix. As there is a... yes, there is a tournament mode in this game, as you probably would expect. Probably not going to do the missions, though, because I will admit I've only done them once and I don't remember all the details behind them. Probably could dedicate a stream to them though, if there is a demand for it. But a fair few of the missions are quite short, but do have definitely demanding requirements, let's just say. We're at the semi-final already, wow. It hasn't even been half an hour.
That's cool! Sonic! When did you learn those techniques?
Tails, I was doing cooler stuff than that. Just in the previous race.
You know, I've checked you out actually. Not bad. I admit you're pretty fast on your feet. But here, it's a whole different story when riding with extreme gear. You see, to be the fastest on a gear, you have to become one with the wind. Without wings, well, you might as well kiss the ground and go home.
I will admit I definitely do like Jet as a rival and kind of misses out his presence really. Because in terms of actual like Sonic rivals, there hasn't really been one to challenge Sonic's ego quite like this. You've had Sonic and Shadow obviously rival Sonic's abilities, but we haven't really had a rival which actually challenges Sonic's ego like Jet has, and I think for that, Jet might be my favorite Sonic rival.
Hey, Tails, you always do your best, so don't worry.
Yeah, but she has
Oh wait, the brows actually do move, but only on like Sonic and Knuckles. Tails is just sort of stuck with
Don't worry, I'll unlock the secret of the extreme gears for
eyelid movement for the most part. Alright. Good old Green Cave. I think this one might have been my favorite, at least at a point. Fair few twisty-turny paths on this one. Generally, quite a big fan of the music as well. Like, see, look at this. Would you say that was cooler than the, like, 1080 that Sonic just did in the air? Which seemed fairly unremarkable, all things considered, compared to, like, the cavalcade of tricks you can do in midair. Also, yeah, these definitely did freak me out a little bit as a kid. Just these massive centipedes. Only in this level, mind, along with massive spider webs, which you can use to skip basically that last corner. Little just party with your thumb right there. I will say, in terms of the various Sonic games which have gotten HD ports, I feel this is one of the main ones I would want to see, because I'm fairly certain, for a lot of people at the very least, this is one of those Sonic games which was generally quite liked. Let's just put it this way, it was the best Sonic game to come out in 2006. Even if that's not saying anything. Well, there is a small issue with it, which I'll probably point out once we come to the end of the story. Final lap already, wow. Again, you can probably tell I've done this a fair bit. I can't help but feel that going through this with just one type of character doesn't really do these courses justice, because, as you probably assume, there's a whole cavalcade of different routes you can go down with either speed or power types. And meanwhile, I'm just stuck here with flying. Can I make it that web again? There we go. will definitely say, in terms of racing games, I feel this might be the most befitting to Sonic in quotations compared to the All-Stars racing games. Mostly down to the extreme sports angle, which I definitely feel is more fitting for a radical, cool, extreme dude like Sonic was. I know we're here already and the desert is completely surrounded by darkness.
Few minutes left. Who will win this big event? Sonic, congratulations! I'll be over here cheering you on.
Wait, Amy, you dropped out? Like, oh, I'm gonna be in the race, Sonic, watch me, and then she immediately just drops out. Nice work, Amy. Really pulling one for the team, huh?
In Sand Ruins. The rules are still the same. Anything goes in this extreme race. Although it needs no further explanation, the first one to reach the goal will win this race. But remember, the prize will be won by the racer who's performed the best throughout.
The Chaos Emeralds just disappeared. Right, so only now are they putting forth the Chaos Emeralds at this obviously suspicious looking altar?
I won't lose now.
I will admit the Chaos Emeralds definitely do have a fairly odd design here, just how see-through they are. I know the design of the emeralds hasn't been the most consistent, but at the same time, I definitely do have my preferences to some various emerald designs. Can I make it this time? Also, I like how we're the only 4 players in this race. So, technically speaking, I could just come in... Like, if Tails wins, we win. If Knuckles wins, we win. Basically, we just have to ensure that Jet loses. I will admit there was definitely one little thing that I didn't really like about the speed-type characters in this game, which threw me off for a fair bit, which is the fact that you have to press jump twice in order to get on a rail. You jump, and then you jump again. It's not too bad once you get used to it, it's just getting back into the game a little while ago, it really threw me off and just made the speed characters borderline unusable in comparison to Flying and Power, which are infinitely more intuitive to use. Thinking about it, I was going to say Green Forest is my favorite level. No, it's Sand Ruins. No, it's some other level which we haven't come up to yet. Generally, I like a fair few of the courses in this game, aside from maybe a couple which I probably won't get around to speaking about for a little bit. There we go, there's the 100 rings, so we're basically set. Unless I get a comically large ball and chain stuck to me. Really are sort of bringing up all the cartoony sort of power-ups and antics within this, aren't they? Which I know it's weird, but especially for a game like this, I can definitely respect. I don't think there's really much to say at this point, though. Aside from the fact this may be where we finally go on foot, or is it? You know, let's go down here for a change. See a little bit more of the level. Oh yeah, and the sand does pull you there, that's a nice little touch. Let's see if I can actually hit all 3 of these rails. Hold on. I can! And it was done so in a way which made it feel like I didn't really have much control of it. Also, look! Jet's literally in last place, just coming up right here. Nice little tidbit that I kind of like about this is that it actually drops you off right at the entrance. So this next cutscene makes a little bit more sense. Even though apparently we're a mile away still. See, Jet? We're better than you. What's that? Oh. Sure, you'd think an official would call foul on that. I mean, I'm fairly certain these boards don't explode out of nowhere, surely. Then again, he did say no holds barred.
Ah, the dirt suits you so well.
Just remember, you gotta cheat to win. Sonic's so broken up about it, though. Really sort of sells the moment. Also, prepare yourselves for another blur cutscene as all the emeralds just appear and disappear out of nowhere. Look at them go. So, what are we getting? Are we getting super jets? This definitely looks cool, though. Honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing a whole, like, Sonic animated show in this style, though after Prime, I kind of doubt we will ever get that. And, yeah, you know, funny little racing game? Behold. After doing a sick kickflip, all of a sudden you just raise Babylon Garden from the ground. So, how many floating islands does this make now? I mean, there's Angel Island, there's Lost Hex, if you want to count that.
This is Babylon Garden.
And apparently everyone in the audience is okay with this. Jet, it was literally right in front of you. I like the little detail that this is his Adventure 1 Eggmobile. Well, the one I kind of want to see more of instead of the Unleashed one, which... It's fine for what it is, I just feel it's a little bit too simplistic, a little too much like his Sonic 1 version. Here it is, Babylon Garden. All of a sudden it's storming in the desert. Look at him go! Look at him go on his little dinky bicycle. Whoa!
What is it?
It's a new gear I prepped up just in case something like this happened.
Why we didn't go with this one in the finals, I will never know. Surely you'd want Sonic to have the best chance in the race, so you'd give him the best gear, surely.
Jet.
Oh yeah.
You can't catch up with him. Get out of my way. Is that what you think? Take a look at this. I'll show you what true speed really is.
I will admit, despite the delivery, a lot of Jason's lines do definitely go quite hard. Like this, now I'll show you from Brawl. A lot of his stuff from Black Knight. Generally, I feel with the sort of version of Sonic that people want to see from the likes of Frontiers, I feel Jason was the most, I suppose, appropriate for that particular portrayal of Sonic, as opposed to Roger, who... Obviously, I don't really have any animosity towards Roger, I just think that he was never exactly the best fit. For Knuckles, sure, but Sonic... not really, but... I suppose at this point it is what it is, and I suppose you could do a fair bit worse than Roger. He's definitely been... It's kind of weird to think that Roger's been voicing Sonic for the longest time. I mean, aside from Junichi, of course, who, is his own peculiar case, especially nowadays. There was a little bit of a controversy behind Junichi recently, but I'm not entirely certain whether or not I'm supposed to talk about that on streams like these. Oh yeah. For the longest time I got stuck on this particular course for that last corner especially. That corner back there is especially sharp and fairly difficult for new players to get around. There we go, finally got up on that rail. I will say though, Jet is certainly putting up a fair decent resistance. It's going to take all our strength and our strustle in order to break past him. I will say though, especially with these weird looking airships, then how did Jet get ahead of me? This is definitely one of the coolest looking levels, I will say. Also, here's the 100 rings. I missed. Right when at the least opportune time as well. Okay, let's just... There you go, that's how you get around that corner. You just drift. Feel all things considered, despite that little flub up, we're doing fairly well for ourselves, it seems, which honestly I'm fairly happy about. I keep thinking that's one of those little segments where you can refill up your air, but it isn't. It's just a big loop in order to waste your time. I will say though, this level especially really has a lot of the spectacle, which I think a lot of people know and love this series for, and I definitely hope we do get again at some point. Though considering this is technically the final race of this particular story mode, obviously planning on doing Jet in a separate stream. This may end up being one of the shortest streams I've ever done, so there's that. I leveled up right as I crossed the finish line, nice. May not have been the most, I suppose, dramatic of races, but I'm still happy with the result. Oh no, I just fell off my board for some reason.
I can still fly. Right?
I know a lot of people who just memed on that line a fair bit when everyone was on their anti-4Kids phase. I get it's kind of a dumb line, but I do love it all the same. Surprise! I've taken Amy hostage!
Now then, just be a good hedgehog and stay.
Amy, you have a hammer, your hands are free.
Now!
Or, you know, Sonic can just do this.
Can you catch the wind?
I don't think you can do this in the game.
What? Where are you?
I'm here.
Just look up. There we go. So remember that fun little technique Jake did at the beginning? Here it is again, except now he's killing Amy.
Hey, catch! What? I lost! So don't play games with me! I don't want your pity, nor do I need it!
What?
It's like Jet is one of the most
If they don't want
character.
it, then let's take it. Treasure,
It's so unique as a rival to Sonic compared to everyone else. I miss him, fellas. Well, we won the race and basically got nothing out of it
I think
aside
it's time to
from
leave now.
boosting
Tail?
Sonic's ego even further. So I guess it's time to leave. Except not really.
Amy?
How could you dive into Eggman knowing I was there?
Top 10 reasons why Sonic is sorry. Number 5 may surprise you.
And,
Top 30 anime deaths. Number 1, you. I did it. I said the thing.
I won't forgive you this time.
Yay, cartoon domestic violence. He literally just struck him. She literally just struck him on the head there. That's a cool JPEG. But yeah, that's basically Team Sonic's story. And while I do think I have time to just go through the entire story mode, I want to dedicate a second stream to the other one, so with regards to what else we'll do on this particular stream, I'm thinking maybe we'll just do some more races, see a little bit more of the content suite. Maybe I'll put out a poll later to see if you want me to do all the missions, because I reckon that may take a while. I mean, I've definitely done it before. I have the save file to prove it. Hey, Greninja, just, we may have just gone through the entire story mode, but again, we're just going to do a few more races, whilst paying our respects to everyone who worked on this. I don't think I've really appreciated the music too much in this. I mean, it's not obviously the pinnacle of the Sonic soundtracks, but especially for this game, it has a certain vibe which I feel definitely fits. So I can't help but wonder, especially given more recent games that come out, whether or not this would be fitting more of a Jet Set Radio style soundtrack like Rush. I mean, obviously Rush is known for its soundtrack and how unique it is, and I just can't help but wonder whether or not it would fit this as well. It's interesting to think about at the very least. I was just thinking, these credits might go on longer than the entire story mode. I'm just thinking this does lend itself to a small issue, which I feel Sonic R also struggled from. The Sonic fan game, best of luck with that. What's it about? Yeah, the biggest issue that I have with this game, same with Sonic R, is mostly the lack of tracks. But on the hero side at the very least, that was the bulk of them. Like, there's a couple more, but okay, Skate Tribe Extreme Gear, Mission Mode, new missions added to Storm Mission, Babylon Garden, Cream character, Rouge character, to Shadow, opening added to Feature Credits, Insert, got Blue Star 2, Darkness, Babylon added to Story Mode. We're going to be doing Babylon next time. Yeah, there it is. Let's see what we can get in the shop. That's a fair... yeah, that's certainly a lot of rings you'll need. So, I figure we may as well get started. I may struggle with this a couple of times, but... there we go, World Grand Prix. Compete over all 5 tracks into all 5. 5 is the same number of tracks that was in Sonic R in its totality. Alright, let's just get in, and I mean, obviously we're going to play Shadow, and so far his only available gear is Darkness, meaning he's technically the only skate character we have access to at the moment. And the reason we have skate characters is mostly just here, I think, to facilitate Shadow. Because obviously skating is what Shadow's known for, and skating falls under extreme sports. I'm guessing the races here are going to be a fair bit harder than story mode. Yeah, that's off to a bad start already. Oh yeah, Rouge is also here. There we go. I'm mostly just hoping to get the 100 rings here real quick. There we go. Now the main selling point of Darkness here, Shadow's gear, which is technically universal, is that it has very low air consumption, but its stats are just sort of average. But at the same time, that sort of makes it one of the better gears in the game. At least until you get sort of very late game where you get access to a lot of the super endgame stuff. Like, already here we're off to a good start. But I think in order to get the stuff we need, we're gonna need to get through all the races in first place, which, if I'm remembering correctly, is harder than it may seem. Thankfully, no Babylon Garden, though. That's the last we're going to be seeing of that in this particular adventure. Or is it? I'll leave that up to you. I don't think there's really much to write home about to this particular stage, aside from the obvious lore implications with this and Grand Metropolis, which we just have these futuristic settings in a world in which 2000s era San Francisco also exists. So what's the correlation? And of course, the likes of Ian and the lore team will just tell you not to think about it, but isn't that supposed to be their job, to try and figure out how this all works together, or in case, unless they really are for just stripping certain games from the canon, which I feel at this point, in order for things to make sense, you sort of have to. But I'm fairly certain they don't really want to do that. They're sort of content to run damage control as best they can. Alright, next. There is a particular gear I want to get here, though obviously we'll need some rings for it. And it'll be good to showcase it on what will technically be the worst character in this game. As yes, all the characters here have their own stats, with Sonic being one of the best in that he's the fastest, and the worst in the fact that she has the lowest stat total, if I'm led to believe, is Cream. Poor Banui can't catch a break, especially after completely dominating in Advance 2. That cannot but feel bad for Cream, really. Like, in her debut game, she was basically broken, and ever since then she's just been nerfed consistently until basically being made irrelevant until Dream Team. I do want to say I hope that she becomes more relevant in the future, though I'm not necessarily counting on it when all we really have at this point is Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Shadow, and Amy. They're sort of the big leading brand characters. I mean, aside from Eggman, of course. Like, especially with that IHOP menu which has been going around. It's only 5 items, and it's only for the big 5 main... Actually, never mind, 6 main characters. Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Shadow, and Eggman. That's apparently the only 5 or 6 which are worth marketing in this franchise anymore. Despite the fact that they basically gutted everything that made Shadow unique and interesting. Along with basically everything for Amy, and I think they're trying to fix it with Tails, but obviously they can't really do that without him surpassing Sonic, so he's sort of stuck in limbo. Knuckles, obviously they can't really do much with him, considering the Echidna lore is borderline off limits still at this point, and Sonic, well, he's basically the Mickey Mouse, so they can't really do anything too extreme with him, lest he appear unappealing on McDonald's Happy Meal boxes. That reminds me, actually, there was the local McDonald's, which I've been occasionally just passing by. Everyone walks around the way to work, was in renovations for the longest time, and during that time it just constantly had this little banner outside for Sonic themed Happy Meals. I'm guessing they weren't exactly the likes of which to match like the 1994 run with Sonic Free with its toys, or the massive wave of Sonic merch which was in like 2003 to 2005. Was it 2000? Yeah. There was a big push for Happy Meals back in 2003. I think I actually have one of them. One of the disc shooters, shadow themed. I think it's still lying around somewhere. I'll have to dig it out and see if I can find it. Oh yeah, and the Tiger Electronics games. How could I forget about those? The little electronics games you also got with Happy Meals, like the Shadow Grind Rail one, the Knuckles Soccer one, the Sonic Kart Racing one, the Sonic, there was another Sonic one as well. The Tails Flying one, I got a fair bunch of those, but obviously the batteries I think died in a fair few of them, so... Also guessing that they're basically binned or lost somewhere. I haven't been able to find them in ages, and they're probably all discolored and gross looking. So that's a bit of a shame. But yeah, I will say, I get that they gotta do the whole, you know, protecting environment stuff, use less plastic, but especially given how so many Happy Meal toys just, like, phone apps basically, I can't help but feel a little disheartened. Like, I had a fair few fond memories of those toys, and now the kids of tomorrow will never be able to experience them. They're just, I guess they were just ours for the keeping. It's kind of sad, really, because I sort of want kids to have memories like those, though I guess in this day and age, there's just no room for that. Well, you never know, it may, we may have a little resurgence. Also, yeah, these guys have certainly gone a fair bit more, for lack of a better word, aggressive with their racing. I mean, it would help if I got more range. Ah, you ruined my lap. I also love the names of certain tricks. So obviously there's particular ones which are unique to each character, and there's some which have fairly fun details on them. I'll probably show a certain few for Rouge, if you get what I mean. There's a fair few interesting ones for her, which obviously you'd never see in more modern iterations of this franchise. Okay, doing fairly well so far, I must say. Better than I was anticipating, though I'm guessing here's where things start to slip up. Let's see if I can get the perfect. Yes! You get a better speed boost if you manage to get your run-up time just right. See, that was a fairly decent shortcut. But obviously we're sort of stuck going in the slow route for this particular part. Can you grab any of the items? Not really. We're sort of stuck going in the slow lane. We are doing fairly good for ourselves, though, I must say. Alright, off to a good start. Can I make this? Yes, I can. I will admit it's always a little bit of a surprise when I'm able to actually do stuff. Because the way especially rail grinding works in this game, there is the sense that it's not entirely in your control. You sort of have to jump for them with a wing and a prayer. Also, we are scorching ahead, I must say. I think this may be one of the easier tracks to just sort of blitz. Sand Ruins is probably going to be quite egregious, though. Alley up. Honestly, just going for this track again really just reminds me more of Sonic X. I know I've said I wanted to go back and watch it, though It's one of those things where I really haven't had the time. This especially reminds me of some of the locales from Season 3, like that forest planet that we're stuck on for a fair bit, where Sonic gets his soap shoes back. That must have been just the most hype moment as a kid, seeing the shoes you knew only seeing in Adventure 2 actually appearing in the anime. And I mean, it's an early iteration of that's the thing I know point and clap, which we've gotten so used to in more recent years, but it really must have been an exciting prospect going back, like, was that like 2005, 2006? Probably, it was in all likelihood before this came out, let's just put it that way. Alright. Now comes the hard part. As I'm fairly certain this last race is going to be fairly rough on us. Alright. Alright, that's a bad start. And I can't restart the race just in case. I will admit I have a little bit of a perfectionist mindset with regards to that. If it's not anything acceptable, I am more inclined to just restart and try again. Can I get on the rail? Can I get on the rail? Nope. Guess we're just stuck in the turbulence as Sonic races ahead. There we go. Now we have a fighting chance. Fairly certain I did that wrong. Okay. No matter. I guess one thing that one can appreciate with the darkness is with the lower air consumption, you can be a bit more liberal with your boosts. Like right here, for instance. Also, yeah, I completely forgot. If you hit both of the triggers at the same time, you can unleash a tornado behind you to trip up any opponents that are tailing you. It very rarely comes into play, though it is satisfying to pull off. You gotta wonder though what exactly Shadow seeks to gain out of just entering this race. I mean, I guess to prove he's the ultimate race. I guess technically Shadow being in this isn't canon. It's just like, oh hey, fan favorite character, let's have him as a little bonus. Which sort of makes me wonder why Metal Sonic wasn't included in this. Metal Sonic wasn't included in this series until Free Riders, where he was the secret, super secret final boss, and let's just say that wasn't exactly the best game he could have debuted as a Sonic Rider in. You know, the last one and the worst one. I suppose, speaking of which, I know there's been a mod of such which allows you to play Free Riders with a controller. I do definitely want to try that out. But obviously I need to go through all the hoops of setting it up. Also, is it me or was this easier than I was led to assume? It's like, I tried going through this a little bit earlier. I mean, when I first went through 100%ing it, and it was the most toughest thing I'd ever been through, but going through it now was just the most simplest thing I've ever done. Look at that, gold medal. Gold medal. New missions out of the store mission. Sega Carnival. 1/500 rings, meaning we can buy some more stuff. Including one particular board I've had my eyes set on. And one which I definitely want to showcase as we go into the SOP. Okay. That being the light board. Stick with me on this. Upper gears, we can get beginner. Let's get high booster, why not? High booster, it's definitely a bit of a gas guzzler when it comes to air intake, mostly when it comes to the boosts themselves, but in exchange for that you get like super boost, so it's I guess not too bad on power type characters. Anyways, let's showcase off the final course we have available to us, and I think in order to illustrate the power of the light board, I'm gonna go with the worst character. My favorite Banui. Well, second favorite Banui in this series, not including Fields. Let's go with that. Hey! This must have been amazing to see back in the day when all these Sega IPs weren't exactly given the recognition they were given in more modern games. Like, this was before All Stars Racing, like the first one. Yeah, that jump in particular is kind of hard to hit. Now, the reason I picked out the light board is that it's technically the fastest board in the game. Not entirely certain whether this is the best course to showcase it on, but it's definitely something I want to showcase regardless, if I can actually make... Oh, hey, it's Monkey Ball. I definitely do love this sort of thing, though. It's the sort of thing I definitely can appreciate, just all the Sega IPs just mashed into this one cohesive course, like you got Crazy Taxi over there. Anyways, yeah, just... Normally, you decelerate after a boost, you don't with the light board. So, if you manage to get on the straight with smooth terrain, as this thing will get bogged down by it fairly often, you don't slow down from a boost, so you can just keep at the top speed of, well, for Cream it's 240, which I'm guessing is miles an hour, question mark. I'm thinking maybe something like Metal City would be a good place to showcase this. Oh, so there we go, there's the fly route. And oh yeah, you get to go for the goal like in Monkey Ball. I will admit I've only ever played one of the Monkey Ball games, which was Super Monkey Ball 2. I remember it specifically because when I used to go to the hospital... Oh, hey, John. When I used to go to the hospital, they had a GameCube set up there, and one of the games that was on it was Super Monkey Ball 2. Other games which were on there, I remember Wario World and Mario Kart Double Dash. Are you American? I've had that question asked of me quite a few times. The answer is surprisingly no. It's just that my accent was warped by various shows I used to watch as a kid, so... I'm not entirely certain whether or not my accent has fully recovered, but... I guess you can just say it's a bit eclectic. Also, yeah, I'm not even touching the control stick at this point, just look at me go. Oh yeah, that was Sega Carnival. There's another particular level based off of this which we'll come to later, but for the time being, that level is one which I have a lot of fond memories of racing through. Okay. I think we'll wrap up in that case with... Let's go Metal City one more time. We'll stick with the light board, but I want to showcase Rouge since, because of course I do. I'm wearing her outfit. This will showcases Rouge's intro animation here. Now this is definitely an outfit you'd never see Rouge rocking nowadays. I feel it's something that I'll probably get more into if I ever stream Adventure 2, but it really is kind of sad that the whole sort of raison d'etre for Rouge's existence has sort of been made null and void in more recent games because it's not acceptable. Also, look at this. Still not slowing down. Still not slowing down. yeah, if you do bump it, you do end up slowing down to a little bit of a crawl, so that's the main balance with this particular board. Gotta play perfect, otherwise you just get punished for it. Can't remember the exact combination, but there is a particular trick name for Rouge that I do want to definitely highlight. Obviously didn't get much of a chance there. Let's see if I can actually make the fly ring here. No, you definitely do need to get a little bit of height for that one. Also, yeah, getting a little bit sloppy there. Now, of course, Knuckles passes me. Of course it's Knuckles. Right, here we go. Here we know. Oh, it's the backcracker from Battle. I didn't even realize that. I mean, I've tried it before in the past. As you might have seen from some of my other streams, I have made an attempt to do so, just to try to vary up some of the voices, though I imagine it's not exactly the most entertaining to watch. Alright, last chance. I think... I don't want to say it outright, but I think it might have been censored, perhaps, because I know that some of her trick names at one point did say sexy. As in literally. I'm gonna go on another track, see if I can point it out again. Which would be best to do tricks on? Babylon Garden, maybe? I'm gonna try it with the skates, because that might be it. That might be it. It's only with certain... it's only with certain boards, because I just remembered that the trick names do change depending on the type of gear you're rocking. As in board or skate. Let's see. There we go, sexy shots. There we go, I knew I wasn't remembering things wrong.
Emergency alert. Emergency alert. Prepare to repel intruders.
I will say that's definitely a nice touch again, I must say, just the fact that we do get these sort of unique trick names for all the characters, just one of those things where even if they're not exactly the best in terms of actual usage, they do have a fair bit of personality to them. And that's always something that I am in favor of. Also, here's that corner again. Here's how you do that corner. I will say though, thinking about it, the worst track, or at least my least favorite in the game, won't be one we come into contact with tonight. It'll be next time. Okay, ow. Thanks for bringing me on the power route, but that was certainly rude. There we go, finally got that one. And can I actually get the 100 ring? No, no. So close. I had it right in the palm of my hands and it slipped. Oh, Beauty Mark. I didn't even realize Beauty Mark was one of the trick names. That's actually kind of funny. Alright, let's see if I can actually make it... There we go. There we go. I may end up actually losing to a robot. How shameful would that be? I will say it's definitely convenient that there just seems to be an infinite number of these weird plane things just flying about in time for us to actually drop in and pick us up. I gotta wonder though what exactly those are. Are they like actual like ancient Babylonian pilots? Are they robots? Does this place also have ancient AI? I know Ian would tell me not to think about it, but that's what I'm supposed to do as a fan. Read too deeply into things. Somebody has to do it for this series. Somebody has to keep everything in check. Alright, I think after that, I finally set out to look for what I wanted to. I think that's it. We're going to end it right there. I know it's definitely a shorter stream, but I do definitely want to save Babylon for next time, which will be next week. But until then, I'll see you then. Take care. Bye-bye.